Got another update on the Samurai Carpenter Workbench, a big slab in my shop, an update on my bandsaw, and stickers, all coming up right here, so stick around. Well, hello everyone. Today is Sunday, July 18th. Welcome to another edition of Shop Talk. My name is Mike and I'd like to welcome you to my workshop. So what's been going on out here in the shop this week? Well, if you follow me on Instagram, I've been very actively updating you on the Samurai Carpenter Workbench build. If you noticed the post that I recently had last week, I kind of ran into a slight problem with my big Powermatic Bandsaw. We were resawing some hard maple. Mike was in here in the workshop, and after a couple of cuts, the next time we went back to resaw a board, the bandsaw wouldn't come on. So after a little bit of troubleshooting, I had kind of narrowed it down to what I thought was the problem. And unfortunately, I jumped the gun and ordered an overload relay in part of the starter control circuit. And as it turned out, that wasn't the problem. When I got the new relay in and installed, the saw still didn't work. And so I downloaded the wiring diagram for the bandsaw and troubleshot every aspect of that control circuit, and actually found out that pretty much figured out that I'm almost positive that it was the brake switch. So I have dust collection to the bandsaw, but the brake switch is down in the very bottom of the cabinet. And unfortunately, some dust does get down there, and I think it kind of trapped around the switch, not allowing that contact to fully open upon releasing the brake. And so, or fully close rather, upon releasing the brake. So after getting it all back together, the bandsaw is back up and running, which is great because we have quite a bit of resawing left to do. So if you're not familiar, Mike Walls and I are building the Samurai Carpenter Workbench, both right here in the shop, and we are very active in posting updates on Instagram. So if you're not following me or him on Instagram, I encourage you to click the link in the About tab of my YouTube page. So we did try to cut up some pieces of oak this past week. This is probably about 9/4 oak, maybe 10/4 oak. I'm not exactly sure. And we're hoping to use this oak to make some of the jaw faces. So the workbench has a couple of vices, and one is on the side that's a rather long, wide vise, and then one is on the end of the workbench. And so we're hoping to kind of cheat. We're don't quite have the thickness that we need, but we're hoping to kind of cheat that in and use that. Also, this past Saturday, which was yesterday, I traveled to Valdosta, Georgia, and met up with Bob Barrett. Bob is an Instagram follower of mine. I actually follow him as well. I first met Bob in Atlanta at the woodworking show, and Bob was getting his training on his Woodmiser sawmill. Well, I posted a message update on Instagram where we were looking for some really thick stock walnut and oak for the workbench build. Bob responded and said that he had a big walnut log, a 6x6 log, and I think we're going to be able to make it work. Hopefully that will do what we need for it. We actually need that for the end rails of the workbench, which is a 3x6 chunk of walnut. We wanted a solid piece rather than laminated pieces for that, just mostly for aesthetics. And so we're hoping to be able to get all of the pieces that we need out of that log. So stay tuned for updates on that. Thanks a lot, Bob, for reaching out, and thank you for meeting me in Valdosta to get that log. Also, Mike Walls is actually on vacation this week, and he is hoping to come across the oak, but we're still not there yet. So if anyone in the Panhandle region or close to the Florida Panhandle has access to some 20/4 oak, we need some finished dimension 4x4 oak for the legs for the workbench. So hit me up on Instagram. I'd appreciate it very much. So what else is going on? Well, I ordered a few more smaller things for the workshop this week. I got one of those in, and that is an end mill for turning pins. If you're not familiar, a few weeks ago, my good friend Daryl Jones of Dreadnought Woodshop was up in the shop, spent a couple of days with me, and he actually brought me a wood lathe, an older lathe that he had, and donated it to the shop here, and so taught me how to turn my first pin. And so I needed an end mill, so hopefully I'll be able to turn another pin here in the near future. I actually visited Daryl a couple weekends ago when Mike and I traveled down to get another load of hard maple for the workbench. One thing I failed to mention, and Daryl has been so generous with different donations to the shop. Daryl actually had in his possession an extra drum sander that he wasn't using, and so he asked me if I could use it. I said certainly, and while we were down there, Daryl donated this drum sander to my workshop, so I'm going to have to do some troubleshooting with it and get it hooked up. I think it needs a little bit of fine tuning on the belt and the traction, or what do you call it? I can't think of the word right now, but adjusting the belt, the tracking on the belt. And so I hope to get that up and running in the near future, because that could certainly help when we get these slabs for the workbench planed down to thickness, to help hopefully kind of speed up the process. He even had a bunch of belts that he threw in with it that were part of that. So thank you so much, Daryl, for your donation. I really appreciate it, and I hope to put it to good use. Last but not least, I am going to be working this week, minus my partner in crime, on trying to get a few more pieces milled up. We attempted to use the 14-inch bandsaw to resaw some maple when the 24-inch bandsaw was taking a hiatus, and that didn't work so good. I have resawed quite a bit in the past on that 14-inch bandsaw. I've got a very nice Timberwolf blade on it, but this hard maple was just a little bit too much for it, and it was walking a little bit. So I've got a board that I'm hoping I can clean up on the big bandsaw while Mike's away, and I'm hoping to also get these oak pieces cut down and milled up for some of the vise jaws. That's kind of my goal for this next 2 weeks while Mike's away, kind of get some of that smaller stuff taken care of. Maybe tackle cutting up a piece of this walnut log and see if I can't get some of the end rails milled down as well. So we'll see. Stay tuned for updates again on Instagram for the status of that workbench. Last but not least is stickers. So I did receive a couple of stickers in the mail this week, so I want to take a moment to mention those. The first was from, let's see, I remember the name of this individual, Carlos at 7th Nail Workshop. Carlos sent me a note and a sticker and a magnet, I believe, for the sticker cabinet. Appreciate that, Carlos. And I just received another one this week from Jim Rumsey of Bubba's Workshop. And so thank you, Jim. I will be getting stickers in the mail to you guys this week. I'm running kind of low on my sticker collection, or my sticker supply rather. I have just a handful of stickers left, and so I'll get some out this week. And if people are still interested in swapping stickers, I may have to place another order for them. So if this is your first time visiting my my channel, I would appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button. Right now I am working on the Samurai Carpenter workbench build, and I have plans for a lot more projects in the future. I've done some shop upgrades in the past few weeks and months. Some of those to my dust collection system. I've got a couple of different upgrades that I've recently completed, trying to wrap up setting up my new shop. And I've got some other projects as well that are shop organization related that I have also released on my channel. Once I get this workbench completed, I plan to do a full build video of that workbench to kind of document the whole process that Mike and I are taking on building that, as well as some other plans for other projects both in our home and around the workshop. So why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated on what's going on here in my workshop. And I would appreciate it if you also follow me on Instagram. So if you like this update, please hit the like button. I appreciate that as well. And let's roll the sticker music. Have a great week in the shop.